Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Carmina, astrologer and card reader, and today we have again with us our guest astrologer Rok Koritnik. Welcome back, Rok.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again.
A pleasure to have you again. Rok is gonna continue describing his research, his findings on the harmonic charts, on the Varga charts, and on the overlying of knowledge and the differences between what we use in Vedic, what it is used in Hellenistic, and how we can, harmonize this knowledge. And today, the main topics will be the HORA and the TRIMSAMSA, but we would like to start with something interesting that we began discussing last time, and we would like to start with making the connection between the Drekana and the Navamsha, because these, as Rok was telling me before, they are two very connected charts, and I think also numerologically 3 and 9 is 3 times 3, so it makes sense. So welcome back, Rok. What do you have for us?
Yeah, okay, I'll just share the screen because this is something I wanted to talk about the last time, and I think it's quite important. So I'll demonstrate it here. So what we have here is in the inner circle we have the Navamshas, and in the middle circle we have the Drakanas, and here of course we have the 12 signs, 12 Rashis. What's interesting, if we look at the sign of Aries, it's Drakanas. Mind you, we're using the Pariviti, the harmonic Drakana here, with the natural order of the signs. We have Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And then if we look Aries Drakana, it has Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Navamshas. And if we look the sign of Taurus, we have Cancer, Leo, and Virgo Drakanas. And if we look at the Taurus Drakana, it has Cancer, Leo, and Virgo Navamshas. So basically, the Navamshas are Drakanas of Drakanas. It's Drakanas further divided into 3.
Like
so it makes sense.
circles.
Yeah, it makes sense because for those of you who are interested in Jaimini's system, these are the 2 Vargas that Jaimini uses. Supposedly, in some later chapters, which I haven't read yet, he says to use the Panchamsha for fame and power, and that's it. But really, the core of his system are Drakana and the Navamsha. And it makes sense because they're harmonically related, as we have seen. And he bases his Yogada techniques on these 2 Vargas. So one would see which planet is aspecting the 1st, the 7th, or the 3 alternative ascendants through Drakana and the Navamsha. And this technique never worked for me. I was so frustrated. I tested it on charts of famous people, who really should have powerful Yogada planets. Well, and it just didn't work. Of course, because we were calculating the Drakana part of Yogada with the wrong Drakana, with the planetary rulers Drakana as found in Parashara, which is not a harmonic chart and is not harmonically related with the Navamsha. And now I'm really eager to test it out, with this type of Drakana, and I hope, probably it will show things more clearly. So it's something to keep in mind, if you're trying out the Yogada techniques and are not satisfied, probably this is the reason why.
Yes, I think that's a very good observation. Because also in Vedic astrology, we say, that Mars is connected to number 3, and Ketu is connected to number 9, and Ketu gives the results of Mars. So we can connect the Navamsha to the Drakana even that way.
Of course, yes. And also some say that, here you have 3 different levels. The Rashi level is the physical, the Drakana is the subtle, Shukshma or astral plane, while the Navamsha is the soul level.
So it goes, like
yeah.
a spiral, deeper and deeper.
Yeah, it's just deeper and deeper. Very, very elegant, really.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to get into two charts that, because when we discussed doing the video, I said, let's make maybe separate videos, one for HORA and one for TRIMSAMSA. But you said, no, like these charts have to be looked at together.
Right.
So why is that? Like how?
Mm-hmm. First of all, we have to be careful here because HORA and Rekana are not charts. They should not be made into charts, and we will see why. First, I will show the Drekana as described in all the major astrological texts of India.
The Drekana or the HORA?
Sorry, yeah, the HORA. I meant the HORA. Where is it? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll just share my screen again.
As a spoiler, I'm going to say HORA is you divided by 2 the sign, and TRIMSAMSA you divided by 30. That's like in a nutshell.
Okay. The first, what you said is absolutely correct. But the second is a modern understanding of it, and we will put it under question. So yes, this is the HORA. Every text says that the HORAs are ruled by the sun and the moon. For odd signs, the first HORA is ruled by the sun, and for even signs, by the moon. So the rulership is simply reversed for even signs. And this is what they all agree on, that they are ruled by the sun and the moon. But then Yavana Jataka tries to create a separate HORA and says, the first HORA belongs to the sign itself, and the second HORA to the 11th from it. And this is maybe where the idea that the HORA is meant to be looked for wealth comes from, because it's the first and the 11th.
Yes.
Um,
This Yavana Jataka, always the troublemaker.
Yeah, Yavana Jataka is really, but it's a very interesting, it's like a gold mine of information, so many delineations are there, it's an interesting text. So yeah, this is it, sun and moon, nothing else, all other attempts to, for example, Vrihajataka, Varahamihira, he actually says, okay, the Horas are ruled by the sun and the moon, but some say he's referring to Yavana Jataka because he was drawing heavily from the works of the Yavanas, Yavana Jataka, and even an older text, Vrida Yavana Jataka, which is supposedly enormous, but we don't have a translation yet. He says, but others say that it's the first and the 11th sign. But he was like proponent of this type of HORA. And in Brihat Parashara HORA, we find the same thing. But then, after he gives this sun, moon rulership, he goes to say that the signs, Aries, etc., they are repeated twice throughout the zodiac in their order, Meshadi, Paririti, the natural order. So what he's giving there is like the second harmonic, just the natural order of the signs 2 times. But we can see that this type of idea, that we should create somehow assign signs to the Horas varies from text to text, but they all agree on this, that the Horas are ruled by the sun and the moon. And it makes sense because we will also look now to the TRIMSAMSA, something that many believe that it's the D30, right? Because it's TRIMSAMSA.
Yes.
And it is, like TRIMSAMSA, like 30 parts, but what is 30 parts when you think about it? What in the sign are 30 degrees, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So the TRIMSAMSA is actually a D5. It's 5 parts ruled by non-luminaries, and I will show it here. Trimsamsha. This is the Trimsamsha. These are Trimsamshas.
I don't think I see it because you have to
All
share
right. Yeah, sure. Okay, then I'll just
something different.
find it here. It's the last one. So you see it, right? This is the Trimsamsha. It's 5 portions ruled by non-luminaries. So the sun and the moon do not rule any of the Trimsamshas, but only the 5 planets that rule the elements, right? And it's very interesting that you have different amount of degrees, right? This is how Trimsamsha is defined in Parashar Hora, in Saravali, in Brihajataka.
Mm-hmm.
Mars rules 5 degrees. Saturn rules 5 degrees. Then Jupiter rules 8 degrees, Mercury 7, and Venus 5. And the rulership reverses for even signs. We do have another division that reverses for even signs, don't we? It's the Hora.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when we put the two together, it becomes very obvious. Yes. Mm-hmm. So here we have Rashis, we have Horas and Trimsamshas. Jupiter rules which element? Ether, right?
Yes.
Jupiter is ether. And ether is a neuter. It's nor male nor female. So Jupiter gets its position, its rulership in the middle of the sign. So part of it falls in the sun's hora, which is male, and part of it in the moon's hora, which is female. And then we have 2 female elements, Venus for water and Mercury for earth, falling in the hora of the moon, which is female. And then
So
2
you
male.
consider Mercury because Mercury would be like a neuter. You consider it female because it rules.
No. Yeah. In this case, it's about elements.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about elements. Which of course is not entirely consistent. Maybe there's even some problem with the assignment of the elements, and many are questioning it. But the Trimsamsha was built, on this principle that Mercury rules Earth.
Yes.
And here in the Sun's hora we have Saturn and Mars, fire and air, 2 male elements, and it reverses for even signs. So we see that the Trimsamsha is based on the principle of Hora. It reverses for even signs, and it places the rulers of the elements according to the Horas. Right?
Yes, apparently.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Horas are ruled only by luminaries and Trimsamshas only by non-luminaries. So it makes sense also to look at in practice, in which Trimsamsha the sun and moon fall in. Because that planet, that element, then becomes like an agent of the agenda of the sun and the moon. Because the sun and the moon are, 2 facets of consciousness. And these are, the other grahas are elementary, So
Yes.
here we can see through which element the consciousness is experiencing the world the most.
Yes, it does make sense because the sun and moon, they don't have an element. They are of beta nature or whatever. But yeah, it makes sense like that, like 5 elements and then the 2 luminaries in the hora.
Mm-hmm. So the idea that the Trimsamsha is D30 is a very modern one. It has no basis in the old texts. The old texts just say it's like this. It's just planetary rulers. And we find something very similar in Hellenistic astrology, something that's called terms or bounds, upon which I guess this idea of Trimsamsha is based on. But the bounds in Hellenistic astrology are very complex in their construction. which is something that's really requires some study. It's not can be explained in one video. But yes, this is apparently something that's based on it, a little bit simplified and geared more towards elements. And this is why it said that the TRIMSAMSAs should be looked for ill effects, for diseases. Because if we have, for example, Mars, which is fire, and it falls in a watery TRIMSAMSA, yeah, sure, you have Agni problem,
Yes, there would be some elemental imbalances.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you also look at the notes for this, or you don't really?
I'm not sure if I would. I mean, this is just like, I have to say, I'm just barely scratching the surface with this because it's something I've discovered just recently. But yeah, these are, the practical uses of the TRIMSAMSA. And the only documented use of the TRIMSAMSAs in Parashar HORA and Brihajataka is for female horoscopes. Nothing else. Only this. They would just look at the ascendant of the female native and see which TRIMSAMSA it falls in, and says, okay, it falls in Jupiter's TRIMSAMSA, yeah, the wife will be chaste, support the husband, and so on. If it's in the Mars TRIMSAMSA, she will be rebellious, and so on.
Quickly, let me check my TRIMSAMSA.
But you have to check it in in Kala. There are two versions of TRIMSAMSA.
Yes. Yeah.
One is called Planetary Lords, and that's actually the Sun and the Moon are also there. It's done as a chart. The Sun and the Moon are also there, but they should be disregarded. They should be ignored. What you only look at is, for example, if you have a planet in, say, probably it will put it in Sagittarius, that means it's in the TRIMSAMSA of Jupiter. You will never see a planet falling in Cancer or Leo in TRIMSAMSA because it's done. It's just I think it's a clumsy way of doing it, because it should be done like this. If you're using a square chart, it should be done as a table. So we have just TRIMSAMSA rulers. You see which planet.
For your technique, you look at the ascendant lord in the TRIMSAMSA in the planetary lords?
No. Because I'm not using the ascend. I'm not reading the ascendant. I'm more concerned with the planets. If they are in compatible TRIMSAMSAs,
Okay,
if
with
they
their
fall in
natural
compatible elements,
energy.
so they are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I have Moon in Taurus there, so it's not okay.
That just means, that the Moon as a facet of consciousness is, experiencing the world through the element. So your perception of the world goes, through water element.
Yes, it's so interesting. I'm gonna look after this video. It's something.
Yeah, I mean, this is simple stuff, but it can tell you.
So what are the uses? You use it for this just to see like additional like health problems because of these imbalances, or what is your?
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be the primary.
Do you want to share a chart? Do you want to look at a chart, for instance, for that, and just explain? Because I think it would be more intelligible for people.
Okay, I will just. You see this, right?
Yes.
You see the horoscope?
Okay. No, I don't. I didn't still see the.
So I have to share it again. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a master of this screen sharing thing. Just a second.
So you said in the TRIMSAMSA you don't really look at the luminaries, you just look at the 5 planets?
I mean, you can. We just spoke about it. Okay, so this, and okay, this is not Kala. It's a software called Planet Dance. and I actually programmed a HORA and TRIMSAMSA module for it.
Oh, nice.
So this is a wheel chart with TRIMSAMSAs. You can also use Panchamshas if you want, which is based on malefics and benefics. And yes, here we have a chart. It's my chart. It's very, very much relevant for me now. I'm really checking these TRIMSAMSAs because here we can see a debilitated Mars in the 6th house. And my body is giving me trouble, that's for sure. And it's all, based on the weak Manipura, because Mars is debilitated, which rules the Manipura, according to, some, which also makes sense to me. And I'm also having, really conflicting fire and water in my body. So here we have already he is in watery sign, but also in watery TRIMSAMSA. So, I'm suffering inflammations which are connected to the systems that are dealing with water and also with lymph system.
Yes, the lymph.
Yeah. So it's just as simple as this. You just look at the planet, especially planets that are in malefic houses, and see if they also fall in a problematic TRIMSAMSA. Then guaranteed the trouble is there, because I've seen malefic planets in difficult houses, even in debilitation, but it doesn't necessarily manifest in severe health problems. But the TRIMSAMSAs seem to really show it. So I'm actually planning to make a research on many charts of diseases to kind of really get it confirmed and to see how many times it will repeat. It will be how what's the word? How consistent it will be.
Yes. Wonderful. It's so good. It's so good that you are approaching this with a fresh perspective. And if you look at many charts of diseases, that's medical astrology is always a good way to verify things, because
Absolutely.
that's the disease. Like, you can't go around it. You can't give it So.
And it's also something very, it's very much manifested there. So
Exactly.
what I'm testing stuff on is diseases and childbirths, because these are some things that are totally objective.
Exactly. Good. Okay, thank you very much, Rok, for exposing your research, for exhibiting your research, and for sharing it with us. If you want to find out about more in-depth things that Rok is looking for, you can check out his website, rokkoritnik.com. And we'll see Rok again with video on the TRIMSAMSA.
Right.
Thank you, Rok. See you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.